expecting a little light relief as we merrily snap the elastic on Auntie's new bloomers, and you find instead someone who looks like a refugee from the Crystal Maze, rummaging about in the unseemly bowels of the BBC. But I'm not here to seek out where they walled up the controller of programmes after the light entertainment Christmas party. A much more vital quest has brought me here. Years of dogged detective work, following up every careless whisper in the canteen, every unguarded aside at the DG's orgies, have brought me at last to this dark and dingy midden. This is where the BBC would hide from you, the paying customers, its most awful secrets. And tonight, with a shocking A to Z dossier, we fearlessly expose Auntie's new bloomers, a litany of breathtaking, bumbling, corpsing and incompetence. And you thought the BBC was the epitome of skilled professionalism? Just look at our first exhibit in our A to Z. It's absolutely helpless.
Well, I hope you refuse to pay him this time, darling. It was one of your account cabs, Ed. That's not right, is it? We simply cannot allow you to cut us off, Ed. That's not right, is it? Sometimes I get these lines right. You know, I got an award for getting lines right. Stop. Local anaesthetic? Are you mad? God, I don't know what to say now.
What's a nibble, sweetie?
I guess Bombay mixing.
Listen to Mummy's funny voice again, darling.
Bombay mixing.
Why didn't you tell me about him, darling?
Because I didn't want you to know about it, all right?
So much for the glamour of ab-fab. Mind you, glamour's never been very big around here. One minute the DG is showering you with more cocktail sausages than you can shake a stick at. And the next, he's looking for ways to stop you getting above yourself.
Always remember, Wogan, no one's bigger than the BBC. Bring the hobbledehoys down to earth.
That's the cry.
Sherry Hewson.
Great audience inside, and our man with the baton is someone who's a great friend to songs of praise. No Tredinic.
Inflexible in taking this information on board?
Well, the big problem with the government is that this is...
And on the yellow team...
3 or 4, take one.
Action. You all right?
Oh, Killy, by the way, don't forget the plumber switched the hot and cold taps round.
Well, here we're coming to land. Nice song. Chris Akabusi starting. No. Where did Moses receive the Ten Commandments? No, Mount Sinai. What does the word Messiah...
A lesson there from the BBC to those foolhardy souls who are falling over themselves to be on television. A mile upon mile of shelves you see about me, shelves themselves looted from the ruins of Jan's boutique in Howard's Way, hide many horrors, but none more terrible than those of the living dead. I speak not of my other listener on Radio 2, though goodness knows the description fits, but of those thespians who know what it means to carry on corpsing.
The vicar, Hal? Do you want the vicar?
That's what I want to see him. Yeah,
oh, never mind.
Action!
Kevin.
I'm sorry. Action! Action!
Just imagine you're playing a 17th century murderer. You don't expect much, just that if you go to the trouble of lugging the body 50 yards, the owner could at least play ball and play dead. Instead, as the hapless Bob Hoskins is about to discover, you get lumbered with a corpse that could be the death of you.
Where's the ring?
What are you lot trying to kill me? I'm running down here with a geezer and he ain't got the You can't be joking! Corpse is corpse!
Yeah. Good to choke, but not when the other fella's supposed to have turned his toes up. Now, you could be forgiven thinking that was a Crime Watch reenactment of a discussion between Alan Hansen and Jimmy Hill after the Cup final. But it was, of course, a high-quality drama, of the kind which Aunt BBC is justly renowned for serving up. Classic stories brought to life by great actors with a meticulous eye for period detail, all the ingredients of great costume dramas. But as my tireless research has proved, it's more often a case of dramas with costumes.
Hi now, Lorenzo. My clock has some good comforts, too, for you.
And I'll give them him if I could only get my hand off his costume.
Then using the brush that you get free, give yourself a good brushing down like this.
That's the way.
And then there you go.
Sorry, Trace, I didn't quite get that. What was that again, please?
As you know, to train dogs, we must be fit ourselves. So I want you all to do this at home. A bit of skipping before we bring the dogs on. You ready? Here we go. 1, 2...
You know, many of my own illusions have been shattered during my investigations. I'll never be able to watch Newsnight again after stumbling across Jeremy Paxman's screen test for Crackerjack. But the evidence I lay before you now was perhaps the most shocking discovery of all. Proof that when it comes to embarrassing secrets, our officers of the law have just as much to hide as the rest of us. Proof that would have made George Dixon choke on his cocoa. E is for evening, all.
Then perhaps you can explain how you and your partner got into this conversation with the deceased. I'm now going to play a tape to Detective Sergeant Slater. Maybe I'll do it in take 2.
Come to a crime prevention officer, ring them, ask for advice. Anything, any sales like this, I would say, don't buy immediately.
I was watching it going.
Excuse me, sir. They found the Cortina. A local farmer found it parked in his barn.
Whereabouts?
Companies are still facing the double squeeze of falling demand and lower prices, combined with the long-run structural problems as employees continue to Yeah, I'm just doing a bit for the telly, actually. Oh, right. I'll be on the Christmas tape, definitely, yeah.
I'm not here, friends, to sit in judgment tonight. Well, not all of the time anyway, but sometimes it's difficult to feel too much sympathy for those who ignore the advice of old hands like myself and blindly flout the timeless and immutable laws of show business. Always check your flies. Never share a dressing room with Frank Carson. And one rule surpasses and surmounts all others, and those who breach it risk dire consequences. If I mention the C word, children, you'll know that I speak of the ancient, forget it at your peril, first rule of show business, part 1.
One of the fastest growing types of family is the step family. Becoming a step parent today, let's face it, is far from unusual. But it's not always easy to cope with the role itself. There are often very strong feelings of guilt and insecurity surrounding stepchildren and step parenting.
And what are you hoping to do eventually?
I hope to go to college and then be in the fire service.
That's brilliant. What kind of thing do you want to do in the fire service?
Be a fireman.
How long have you been playing snooker?
Since I was 2.
Since you were 2? Look, here's a nice little present of me. Come round this way, so all your boys...
What's in it?
What's in it? Reddies. No, it's actually a nice new snooker game. I know you don't need any practice, but you have a little go at that, and you might... Thank you so much.
Dave, can you come and sit on him for a minute, please?
Don't forget that next week we'll be completing our series on first aid by looking at perhaps the most important aspect of all, resuscitation, and we'll be giving you all the latest information. Now you could...
Are you reading that?
I am done. You two could say something.
I know. That one lasting lesson learned from that terrifying glimpse of the havoc which a seemingly innocent child can wreak is that young people need role models. Constant supervision by the SAS, armed with electric cattle prods, wouldn't be a bad idea either, but role models will do for now. And what finer example could the BBC present to the youth of today than a man who understands the true value of a neat haircut, a smartly pressed blazer, a man with principles who stands foursquare by his beliefs that first is first and second is where you find the United Kingdom at the Eurovision Song Contest. Step forward a man who believes in getting it right. Gordon Brittis.
Yes, Gordon Britters here from the Leisure Centre, the manager. I'm afraid one of my staff seems to have come for cha... Should you speak Japanese? I was unmarried once myself, you know. Used to go to the pub, have a few drinks, game of darts, few more drinks, go off for a takeaway. Next thing you know, you're lying on some bloke's flat. Well, now, Angie, I wonder what Patrick's husband would really... Patrick's husband? Eric, we're a close, caring community. It's part of the bondage that gets us all together. I don't want to give away too much of this early stage, Tim, but I will say this. I have a plan that will ensure that by the end of this evening, we will all know who the real culprit is.
My name's Gavin, actually, Mr. Brutus.
Is it? What did I call you?
Call me Tim, Mr.
Did I? What I want you to do is set up a first aid station outside.
Of course, Gordon Brettis is not alone in presenting to the world an outer image of inner calm. There are others who exude unruffled dignity, reassuring authority, even, dare I say it, gravitas or bottom. But enough about me. I now turn my beady eye on our news broadcasters, those monuments to unflappability, who remain unfazed by technical traumas, untroubled by successive script changes. Oh, yeah? Well, have they got news for you?
Good evening. In the last half hour, it's been announced that Britain has lost a £3 billion American defence contract to the French. Washington made the decision despite a huge personal effort by Mrs. Thatcher to persuade...
Let me carry on with that story.
And there'll be live coverage on the BBC of the Democratic Convention in New York in under 10 minutes. That's in about 10 minutes.
At today's High Court proceedings, there were legal arguments about the validity of the original arrest warrant. At today's High Court proceedings, there were legal arguments about the validity of the original arrest warrant issued against him. I didn't say it properly.
Animal welfare groups in more than 70 countries are urging Spain to ban bullfighting. Excuse me.
They'll argue that Mr. Osmond should be kept in jail pending his extradition back to the Crown Colony. They'll argue that Mr. Osmond should be held pending his extradition back to the Hong Kong Colony.
Thank you very much, Rob. I'm back with a look at the weather, with the headlines after a look at the weather with Rob McCall. Well,
They'll argue that Mr. Osmond should be held pending his extradition back to the Crown Colony. They'll argue that Mr. Osmond should continue to be held pending his extradition back to the colony.
Critics say the company should have done that a long time ago. Here at Broughton, near Chester, the workforce aren't in the slightest bit surprised to learn that I've got it wrong again.
As part of a major shake-up of secondary education in the city, the County Council wants to close Eden School, stop funding Trinity and remove 6 forms from 3 of the city's schools.
We haven't a result for you yet. We thought we might have, but nevertheless, let's look at the state of the parties at the moment. There it is. I think I should read that. The Official Unionists nil, DUP nil, the SDLP nil, Alliance nil, Sinn Féin nil, others nil. Well, that will certainly confound all the predictions in any election.
Germany has elected a new president. He is Roman Herzog, who is currently the country's senior judge and was the candidate put forward by Chancellor Kohl's party, the CDU. He was elected by... He was elected by a special Federal Assembly sitting in the Reichstag in Berlin.
Right, you ready?
Yeah. That's international news. Now, World Business Day with Owen Thomas after the break.
You know, I don't think things have been the same since Alva Liddell popped his pumps. You join me here in the section of this catacomb of chaos which is devoted to scripts. You may notice a slight trembling in my diseased voice. And I tell you that I have in my hand a quite terrifying piece of paper. No, not from Mr. Hitler. This is the original script for Triangle, before its 17 rewrites. Flick through its pages, if you dare. You cannot help but utter a cry heard by poor unfortunates in the television industry since time immemorial. I don't believe it!
It'll show the immense amount of preparation, design, research, testing by all sorts of extremely competent, reputable
Dad, can I have a quick word?
If the word is rise, no, I'm not interested.
No, it's not about money.
All right, take a seat.
I'd like to, but there's not one there.
Check the pocket, you never know.
Oh, yeah, good idea. Just hang on. Well, there's definitely something in here. Just hang on a minute. If I could get in, I've never known a more complicated bleeding ape.
So this is an ordinary boring hedge, right? Wrong. Firstly, hedges aren't boring. And secondly, this hedge is so special that one 9-year-old boy got into a serious legal fight to save it.
But the gods conspired to make even this small step a little traumatic.
What do you want?
We want you, Martin. One last job.
I did my last job 15 years ago.
Ah, yes, the business in Budapest. Lost your table after that, did you, Martin?
The gods are smiling down upon us. They are saying, mind the teapot.
Are you mad?
Oh, I don't think this is going to tally with the bottle check my boys have been doing.
Give that back to me. Now! Eddie? Eddie!
Right.
We've already seen evidence that there are powers in the world of television which pass beyond our understanding and rules which it is simply foolhardy to toy. Everyone at the BBC is aware that its hallowed studios may echo to memories of the Forsyte Saga or Fawlty Towers, but listen carefully. You can still hear the soft slap of elephant dung on studio floor. John Noakes' despairing cry of, "Get off me foot!" Animals. Bad news in the television industry. Not least if you find yourself in the BBC canteen with a knife and fork in your hand, engaged in an unequal struggle between Sheffield Steel and the BBC pork escallop. But if our modern-day presenters run into problems with our furry enemies, could it be they lack the force of personality of a real expert? After all, Johnny Morris never had these problems.
But one of the real enemies of the badger is Did you bite as well?
Yes, I have noticed. Oh.
The apes are actually tailless monkeys, and they've lived on the rock for centuries. So God, give them a beat. Sure, back.
Hi.
Whoa. The big problem they've got is with names. They've called the... Once it gets dug into the sand, it really is, it gets heavily anchored down.
Sorry, your dog's obviously spotted something.
Thank you very much.
Ostrich meat could, in the not-too-distant future, be the chosen Sunday roast of at least a few British shoppers.
Get out!
I think, first of all, we have to put it into perspective and really consider the numbers. It's very easy to start getting carried away when there's only really been handful of fires. First of all, we need to take out those that we can explain for other reasons, and then consider whether there really is a larger number of fires than we would expect.
I accept that they've got to cut their costs, and they're cutting their costs in all directions. Having said that, there are sides that I could perhaps be critical on their business as well. I'm sure that if they tried hard, they could actually produce crisps more cheaply. Oh, you're in the way now.
Johnny Morris never had these problems?
Right up. Up. Stand up. Stand up. All right.
Well done, Rosie. Mary, how long did it take you to teach Rosie to stand up?
About a year altogether, because she has to take a very gentle muscles.
So when my years of searching finally led me to this silent chamber of horrors, I soon realized my work had barely begun. Many hundreds of mistakes had been carefully stitched together and broadcast as complete editions of Nationwide. Such were the lengths to which the BBC had gone to cover its secrets with a thin veneer of competence. My years of searching these very shelves have proved conclusively that BBC will stop at nothing when it's a case of keeping up appearances.
Action!
Nothing personal, Days. It's just that women get older quicker. It's a well-known fact, and the fact remains, even when the fact remains, the fact remains. Oh, no more, Chris. I'm calm in a crisis.
I'll have a go, Jeff.
Love, we'll have to go and tell her.
What if Mr. Bickerstaff rings?
You can ring Mr. Bickerstaff. That's me. I'm prodding you. I want to know... I don't know what I want to know.
It won't really be a lie, dear, because we are looking for something.
What?
She's inside, love, upstairs.
I'll kill her! I'll pluck her eyes out!
I'm sorry, I did try and keep a straight face.
Now, you'll appreciate by now that these discoveries have not been made without considerable personal cost. In order to ensure the regular access which my task demanded, I was forced to adopt the elaborate cover of the host of a thrice-weekly talk show, where I remained undetected for 7 years. During these long, lonely years, it was my misfortune to encounter a number of smooth-talking swine, allegedly younger than myself and more attractive to the opposite sex to boot. Chief among them was an individual known to the Suffolk County Constabulary as Lovejoy. A man who could charm the birds off the trees. Well, now, his chickens have come home to roost.
The sword, Lovejoy. The sword.
The money, Mr. Kinloch. The money. Ah!
Terrific.
Who left it in here? Yeah, there it is. My daughter Vicky's, actually. She's got a very good backhand, but I guess that runs in the family. Mind you, her pastor will never be a patch on mine. That would have been great, wouldn't it?
I'm sure you're glad to know that despite the presence of such lounge lizards in your BBC programmes, the corporation is above reproach. A lean, mean fighting machine, well-oiled, for sure. Fine-tuned, fuel-injected, go-faster stripes, confidently motoring ahead. Not.
There's some heavy cycle tire marks in the sidecar. Come on. That's right, put it into neutral. Have you had this bike long?
As I say, what people should do when they're trying to move away is to select a higher gear. In a case like this on a hill, try second, increase your engine revs very slightly, and move away very, very gently. Operate your clutch very, very slowly. What they should do, as I say, put the car into a higher gear than normal, slightly accelerate, and away you go, just like that.
Right.
I can't risk too much more time here now, but if you sit around the BBC long enough, there's always a risk you'll end up as a guest on Anne and Nick. Join me again next week, if you dare, for part 2, or even the second leg of Auntie's New Bloomers.
Some people will not let your son rest even when he is buried. They may want to open the grave. But that is forbidden. That is why you must be sure his body is taken home. Would you like an ice cream?
She'd just like to pop up here on this bed and tell me what the problem is. Well, it's my right leg.
When was it? Wednesday in the week. I thought I'd see that film about the Cray brothers. Kill a couple of hours.
Good, was it?
Yes, very good if you enjoyed people's hands being skewered to the corner of a...
Well, it's time now to join Michael Fish at the BBC Weather Centre to find out what's in store for us on the weather front.
What's in store for you is a big problem for me, because my computer, of course, is playing up at the moment, so don't take any notice of what's happening behind me.
What these games are all about, you know, fetching people back and giving the other squad members a chance. Danger money.
Now, to those of you who know that you could be appearing in next week's programme, I would say only that blackmail is an ugly word, but somehow appropriate in these circumstances. And remember, every donation counts, no matter how large. Good to see common sense prevail. Until next week, sleep well. Don't have nightmares. Hello? Oh, hello, Esther. Yeah. Well, it's about whether you...
And BBC One reveals more of Auntie's bloomers on New Year's Day at 8 o'clock. Stay tuned for big screen comedy action as Arnie goes back to school in Kindergarten Cop.